Elon Musk owns X. He sells ads on X. Every single tragedy that happens in the world brings views to X. All of it is monetized. Everybody does that. If you monetize content on George Floyd, you monetize his unlived body. And my take is I don't have a problem with it. I absolutely have no problem with it. Corporate media does it. They're not going to stop. Nobody's saying I'm not taking ad revenue on these conversations, and they shouldn't be saying that. And there's no difference between that and what Patrick Bet-David did there. I would have really respected it if she would have said the money Patrick Bet-David offered, the $250,000, is more than what's been raised to this point. If anybody's interested, the family's still accepting donations. So she wouldn't have dissed him for no reason, for no ridiculous reason. She would never diss Elon Musk. So she wouldn't have dissed him, and she would have highlighted, if this wasn't a grift upon a grift, she would have just said, here, if you're interested, here's a link to donate.
Middle MAGA.
Patrick Bet-David got into the grift wars that is the Candace Owens versus Ben Shapiro. This one's not about Candace Owens, Ben Shapiro. This is going to be about terrible takes, Ashley St. Clair. So Patrick Bet-David did this. Ashley St. Clair, who is just a creator, content creator, was not happy with Patrick Bet-David over his offer to host.
Proposal to you.
So he said a proposal, and here's the proposal. And I understand why it might be like, oh, why would you do that? But you got to think through this stuff. Here's the proposal.
My proposal to you. If you're America First, we, Valuetainment, have agreed that if you want to do the sit down with us, a fair and balanced sit down, the moderating of the two of you, we will give $250,000 to Laken Riley's family because of what's happening today with illegal immigration. It's the #1 issue in America, and I think it matters to the both of you. So no matter where you live, today we're raising our kids in America. So I want to make sure we're America first. And last but not least, while my proposal...
So that's the problem there, and you can hear it. It's the Laken Riley. And I thought that when I played the clip, and I was like, I probably wouldn't have done that. But you got to think through this. And there's a difference between saying, well, yeah, I don't know. Maybe that's not for me. That's a different take. So if somebody has the take where, okay, that's not for me. That's one take. But then to have this take is a whole different animal. And this is the take from Ashley St. Clair. She says, for some perspective, Patrick Bet-David is dangling a $100,000 donation. I don't know why it's in quotes. To Laken Riley's family, contingent on Candace Owens and Ben Shapiro fighting about Israel on the show. So you can already tell she's obviously pro Israel, the other country over there. She's pro that country. So she's kind of already feeling some kind of way, probably thinking that the one that she would be rooting for in that debate is probably going to get his ass handed to him by Candace Owens if they do discuss. But that's kind of in the backdrop of this. She goes on to say this donation would be the entirety of what has been raised on Laken Riley's GoFundMe. So at this point, I have no problem with her comments. Then now here's where we go sideways. Teasing this life-changing money in the face of a family whose daughter was brutally unlived as a result of the border crisis is in incredibly poor taste, especially from someone who only flies private. What does any of that have to do with anything? All these people fly private. Your boss I think she works with Babylon B. I think she's cool with Tim Cass. I'm not 100% sure who's on what payroll she's on. Have you flown private? What does that have to do with anything? She is a complete leftist, and she actually is a leftist. Complete. She's the same one that said you had problem with Charlie Kirk saying you're past your prime. Women are past their prime after a certain age. The same leftist response to when Don Lemon said it. Maybe Patrick Bet-David did not think through this promise. Maybe you didn't think through this tweet. Here, she's had some terrible takes recently. And it's all offspringing of Israel. All off of Israel. A lot of these bad takes are springing off of that. To protect that source that's the source of all these bad takes. And maybe he plans to donate the money anyways. So then why don't you wait to see what happens? I don't even understand. So you're saying if he does... See, her take on him the take shouldn't be determined on whether he donates the money anyways. We know what he said up to this point, and your take is up to this point. It doesn't matter what he does after this. However, victims are not props for your online circus, and that's certainly how this appears. Everybody in this space monetizes tragedy. Elon Musk owns X. He sells ads on X. Every single tragedy that happens in the world brings views to X. All of it is monetized. Everybody does that. All of a sudden, it's a problem now? If anybody is interested, see, now I like this. So you take out this whole thing. If she would have taken, see, it's a disingenuous take because her bosses, the people who pay her paychecks, and her herself, everybody monetized. George Floyd, it doesn't matter what side you come up on George Floyd. If you monetize content on George Floyd, you monetize his unlived body. And my take is I don't have a problem with it. I absolutely have no problem with it. Corporate media does it. They're not going to stop. In order for me to talk about these things, I'm not making money like them, but in general, for people to be talking about these tragedies and these different things, we're talking about thousands of people unlived in Palestine. People making money off of bank after all of that. October 7th, if you're on the Israel side, everybody making money, bank after bank after that. Nobody's demonetizing their thing. Nobody's saying, I'm not taking ad revenue on these conversations, and they shouldn't be saying that. And there's no difference between that and what Patrick Bet-David did there. So you take all that out, and then if she were to have taken out the criticism of Patrick Bet-David, which is just ridiculous criticism, and just ended with, if anybody's interested, she could have said, the money that he offered, and she can do whatever she wants. I'm just telling you what I would have respected. I would have really respected it if she would have said, the money Patrick Bet-David offered, the $250,000, is more than what's been raised to this point. If anybody's interested, the family's still accepting donations. So she wouldn't have dissed him for no reason, for no ridiculous reason. She would never diss Elon Musk. So she wouldn't have dissed him, and she would have highlighted, if this wasn't a grift upon a grift, she would have just said, here, if you're interested, here's a link to donate. That would have been an authentic response. Instead, we get this nonsense, just absolutely getting on my nerves with this kind of stuff. So then she says, I will be donating the next 2 checks I get from X in their entirety. Why are you telling me this? So you're grifting off now donating to the family. That's a grift too, you realize that, right? You could have done that privately. You could have done this anonymously. Just people, there's always something that happens on the Sunday that gets me heated. And then look at the simps in the comments. It was weird and not required at all. Jeremy from the quartering just simping. And then I hate to see this. Malcolm Flex was in here simping too. Malcolm, bruh. We're starting to see that conservative media operates similar to how the regular media does in terms of the antics. Everybody made money off the pandemic. How many people got unlived because they took a medical therapeutic? Did you demonetize anything that didn't get canceled or anything like that you might have made money off of? At some point, we have to realize it's just human nature, and anything gets too big becomes motivated by scummy means. That's a bad take, Malcolm. You're better than that. That's a simp take. So Malcolm X would come around the corner and be like, what'd you say about me, Nick? Hey, that's a big dude. He'd beat my ass. And it still would be a simp take. I like Malcolm Flex. Don't get me wrong. It's just a bad take. And everybody has a bad take. Sometimes you're reacting too quickly. I replied to this. I said, the media monetize content on tragedies all over the world. That's basically what the media is. And I'm talking about corporate media, alternative media, independent media. Go on YouTube on anything in the circles that I'm in. It's all tragedy. We're laughing about Haitian people getting allegedly eaten by other Haitian people. Am I wrong for monetizing that? That even if though I'm making pennies on it, but just generally anybody, a comedian making fun of all this stuff that goes on in the world. Textbook disingenuous grift. Brian Thano says, I agree with what you're saying about the media. They are terrible. I think what irks people is PBD is worth $300 million. What does that have to do with anything? These people don't have morals. They do not have strong moral foundations to be able to think through these things. Who cares how much money he's worth? I don't care if you're worth $300 million or $3. Are you trying to monetize the content? And is trying to feign generously while making his donation contingent upon two people agreeing to debate on his platform. What if he would have said, if we get 1 million views on this video, I'm donating $250K to Lake and Riley? What if he said, if Candace and Ben debate, I'm going to give $250K to your favorite charity? No one would have had a problem with either of those. It appears to me that he doesn't genuinely care about Lakin's family that much is obvious. So does anybody who's monetizing this not care? Horrific take. I mean, you just haven't thought through it. You see what's happening and you have not thought through the takes because it makes no sense. How much money is Elon worth? How much money has he made on Lake and Raleigh? How much money did he make on the bridge crashing, the cargo bay crashing into the bridge and people got unlived? How much money did he make on October 7th? How much money did he make from Palestinians getting unlived, innocent Palestinians getting unlived? How much money did he make off of all these mass incidents that happen where a gunman goes into place and go, cack, 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 cack? How much money does everyone make off of that? So Ashley puts herself into a mental pretzel to go after Patrick Bet-David because you can tell there's something else there. I don't know what it is, but there's something else there because the take is so bad. But will also contort herself into a mental pretzel to slurp Elon's banana every day. No criticism of him. Same take applies to both of them. Makes no sense. Oh my gosh. I'm not reading. DCF Press. I'm the one. That's my fault. DCF Press says Ashley slurps a lot of banana. So I've heard. That's not me. I had not even seen that comment until right now. Professor Slander says the Venn diagram is a perfect circle of people criticizing PBD, DeSantis, Shills, Antichrist is King, Candace. It looks like that. I'm not willing to say that yet, but it does appear that way. I don't blame anybody for thinking that. I'm going to end with this comment here. Somebody, and I like Quetzalcoatlus, but says, I kind of have to agree with Ashley. The national news media monetizing tragedies is equivalent to PBD monetizing his podcast. Yes, well, that's what he's doing. He's monetizing the podcast saying, if Candace and Ben come, I get views from it. We all know that I get revenue from it. I'll give $250K to Lake and Riley's family if they come on. Whether they come on or not, he can do a show Monday and say, I offered them the deal and he's monetizing it there. Do you have a problem with that? If you have a problem with that, then you should have a problem with everything. My take is I don't have a problem with any of it. Just because it's not for me, I wouldn't do that because I think it's too specific and I don't want to dangle it out there. So I see where they're coming from, but I'm not going to criticize them for it. That's perfectly legitimate if you want to do it. However, using a donation to a grieving family to bait two people into a debate, that's what you do. What do you mean? There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. So saying it's okay for every media outlet to monetize tragedy. So this is what their take is. It's okay if you monetize tragedy, as long as you never tease the potential of sharing the revenue to people affected. If that is your take, it's astronomically ridiculous. It's astronomically bad if that is your take. And I think the elephant in the room with this one, with Ashley St. Clair, she does a lot of Instagram type posts and stuff like that. She's objectively, in my opinion, an attractive young lady. And I think if she looked like Carolyn Ellison, nobody would be in her comments simping. Nobody would be in there quick to agree if that's what she looked like. So instead, we get these simps. We get all this other bad contortions. If she looked like that, at least the Negroes, they wouldn't be in her comment section simping.
Middle MAGA.